A very warm welcome to the deep dive session on Austrian competencies in energy solutions. I'm very glad and honored to have you here, the great online community, as well as my dear guests here in the room. We have now the session until 1 o'clock, so it's approximately 105 minutes about energy solutions. It's about Austrian fields of innovation, and it's about startups in this area. We'll start first with 30 minutes of panel discussion, looking at the challenges and the strengths of Austria and also future developments. We also talk about fields of innovation with 4 companies presenting their technologies, just like Urbas, EDM, Wärmepumpen, Solid and Global Hydro Energy. And we also are honored to have 3 startups here presenting solutions for climate neutral companies as well as energy sharing. We have Glacier, GoE and Neum with us. Thank you so much for that. Before we start, we are welcoming the panel now on stage, looking at challenges, strengths, and the missing links and cooperation in the field of energy solutions. Give a very warm welcome to Judith Nayer from the Federal Ministry of Climate Action, Environment, Energy, Mobility, Innovation and Technology. Quite a lot of work you have to do there. She's the department lead for strategic energy policy in this respective federal ministry. Also, thank you so much. A warm welcome to Thomas Kienberger, I think the most wanted expert now for how to deal with gas alternatives. He's the head of the department and professor for energy network technology, head of the Austrian flagship region project NEFI, New Energy for Industry, at the University of Leoben, and as mentioned, expert on how to deal with gas issues. Thank you so much, Thomas. And mastermind behind a lot of innovations we see out on the markets in Austria and abroad is Franz Zöchbauer. He is the Director of Corporate Innovation and New Business from Verbund. Herzlich willkommen. Heartily welcome. So take just a micro. I get one for you, Thomas, as well. And you in the audience here, please feel free to interrupt us, bring in your question anytime as we are looking towards challenges, solutions and future needs. May I start with the Federal Ministry? Ms. Judith Nayer, can you give us the big picture regarding the climate targets in the energy field, focusing on especially probably on the mobility sector and households? What are the main challenges there as we have a big international community now in front of their monitors?
Yes, thanks first of all for having me. I'm really delighted to be here and to take part in this promising discussion, hopefully, about the challenges that we're facing. The big picture, let me start with just the sort of plain numbers and hard facts of the big picture. Austria has committed itself to reach net zero emissions by 2040. That is very soon. And it means decarbonizing the entire energy system. That is a very big picture. And then let me break that down into the electricity sector. We've also set ourselves the target that you probably all know very well of reaching 100% electricity, renewable electricity by 2030, which is even sooner. And the third sort of element that comes into play on the hard facts is that we need to massively reduce our energy use and demand in terms of quantities if we want to reach one and the other targets. On the challenges, so I don't know, I'm also trying to sort of make the bridge to what we do well and what we're really good at already and what we need to get better at fast. So one challenge, I think, or one sort of moment in time that we're in is that we need to move to the next transition level. We have already sort of, I think we're now at the time of consequences. We really need to walk the talk, as they say in climate negotiations. So what we've done so far, and we've done that really well, is to promote the deployment of renewable energy. electricity, mostly actually. We've done that really well. We have the technologies, they work, they're competitive. We've seen costs come down massively. It's a competitive market. Actually, it's the sort of leading market, and that is all very well, and that's the foundation that we need to build on. What we need to do now, though, is to shift to a whole system level, because it was one thing to just sort of build up elements of the energy transition, and I think what we now need to do is to look at it all come together. So we need to look at the heating, or the heat sector, production and low temperature, and we need to look at storage. What do we do when the sun doesn't shine? We need to look at sector coupling, and we need to do all of this fast. So we're talking about infrastructure, and we're talking about all of these elements come together, and that I think is one of the biggest challenges. Do I have another few seconds? Because that was just a massive new challenge that came across. Can I just sort of mention that really briefly as well? So that's the challenge that we thought we were facing, and now we're in this terrible situation that a war is waging in Europe. So we have, and I'm here to talk about energy systems, so I hope that's not being seen as sort of unassuming towards the actual human sort of suffering that is going on as we speak. But I want to point to the challenge that we have in the energy system. For this, obviously, we also need to, aside the transition away from fossil to renewable energy, now need to transition away from our dependence on Russian gas. And we need to do that in a way that we don't slow down the energy transition. Because the same week that Russia invaded Ukraine, I think you've all seen it, we have recorded record level temperatures that nobody even thought feasible in the Arctic and in the Antarctica. And I think, to me, the message and the challenge is climate change doesn't care about geopolitics. If we want to solve this, we need to solve it at the same time, and that's our only chance.
Thank you so much. A very clear picture of what the massive challenges we see, and we've seen in COVID that in Austria the CO2 emissions went down by 8%. If we have the charges of 2040, I think we would need to have a COVID effects on terms of CO2 nearly every year, and especially the industry is now at this very focal point of Ukraine, ambitious targets, and energy at prices that keeps the industry here in Austria. How to face with these challenges?
Yeah, thanks for having me at first, that I can speak here in front of this audience and also in front of the online audience. Yes, at the moment there is a lot of things going on. There is energy transition as this medium time target goal, but at forehand, there is the energy crisis coming out of this terrible war in Ukraine, and this kind of short-term challenges, they focus or they grab industry dramatically, and I have to say there is, I would say, two groups of industrial companies. On the one hand, I'll call them lucky ones. These are the companies having assets which can run on alternatives of gas. Those companies, they look on the markets worldwide, trying to get some oil, coal, and this kind of fossil stuff we all want to get out. But in terms of energy security, I guess it's necessary to see how the whole system can run through this crisis. Here, I think it's super important to get through this crisis without any extra investments that lead to kind of lock-in effects. It would be really a big problem if the companies would invest in a technology that cannot be operated on renewables, and this leads me to this medium perspective. In the last months, I have to say that our telephones they were ringing a lot. We discussed a lot with industry companies how to get out of this dependencies on fossils. That's the point. It's not the question getting out of gas. It's more the question getting out of fossil energy carriers. And I personally do not like the word decarbonization so much. It's more on climate neutrality or on defossilization, if you want to call it like this. And this is what I would say most of the companies are doing at present, that they develop concepts in order to get climate neutral by 2040. And they see it really as a chance. They see it really as an opportunity, also in terms of competitiveness. And yeah, this is how we see industry at the moment.
Thank you so much. So a lot of industries are now committed to the way to zero carbon emissions. The way leads, of course, towards green electricity a lot. Franz, Verbund is providing the largest amount of green electricity in Austria and in a lot of other countries. What are the challenges towards 100% green electricity in 2030 in Austria?
Thanks, Bernhard, for the questions. And I like to put a little bit some context to the challenges Judith Neer also mentioned at the beginning. If you look at the broader energy system and the zero carbon target by 2040, we have about 300 terawatt hours of energy we consume in Austria, and we have to support to deliver it by renewable energy by 2040. So even if we reduce massively the energy consumption by energy efficiency measures, for example, to 200 terawatt hours, we need enormous amounts of renewable energy and electricity. If we come to this shorter term questions, you asked me, Bernhard, 100% renewables in the electricity sector by 2030, that's already a massive transformation of the whole system. To put it also in the context, so in order to reach this, we need 27 terawatt hours of additional renewable generation by 2030. We have only 8 years to achieve this amount. Meaning we need to increase our renewable generation in Austria in the power sector by 50%. It's almost the whole generations of hydropower we produce in Verbund. And if we look not only in the generation, also in the capacity, we have to double the capacity of our power plant productions in Austria in the next 8 years to reach these targets. So that's not a little thing, that's really a big transformation we are now here. We have in front. In my opinion, it's quite important that we get this done in the right way. I think there's no other way. It's only one plain A to get climate protection and the energy transformation done. It's also the responsibility of our generations, which are now working in politics, in science and in business. I think to reach this, we really need a systematic approach, a coordinated stakeholder alliance. I think most important also is we need to accelerate innovation, and we have to scale it. Yeah? It's really a matter of scale to get these things done. So if you look, that's a huge challenge we have in the field of energy transformation and climate protection. But at the same time, in the last 2 years, we had 2 external events also influencing enormously this transformation. On the one hand side, the COVID pandemic. I remember 1.5 years ago, I was at the Austrian Innovation Forum in Vienna, and I showed some figures from the IEA in Paris, where 2020 was the largest reduction of CO2 emissions for the last history. If we look now back to 2021, we see a huge rebound effect. So with a huge demand globally in the energy sector and also increasing CO2 emissions. And already mentioned, we have the war and the crisis in the Ukraine. And that's an issue every one of us really is affected. And the words of security of supply and affordability of energy now are in a complete different dimension and context. So it's really an issue. So I got a lot of calls from our customers for what's going on with electricity prices, why they so rising. A lot of problems with our industrial customers, because it's really a challenge to get this done now. And I think Judith Neer from the ministry, it's really a tough time to be in the ministry.
We're very busy.
Yeah, and to do the right decisions, because it's really a big shift we have to do now in the years to come.
Yeah. I think we all of us have to stand together to walk the talk, as you mentioned it. We have to not only walk, we have to run. We have to speed up 6 times, if I calculate it right, to have 2030 real 100% green electricity as one of the major steps, besides electricity, transition of industry, mobility and households. So let's help all of us, all of you help together to reach this way forward. But we can of course build on a lot of solutions, and I've brought one chart which I would like to discuss with you, and showing the Eco-Innovation Index. Innovation is crucial, as you mentioned. We have to apply it right now for next years. And if you can have the first slide, please. The Eco-Innovation Index of Europe shows that 3 countries are in the lead regarding the turnover with eco-innovation, seeing Estonia, Finland and Austria, ex-equo, in the lead concerning turnover. So this is the good news. We have a lot of solutions. We export them, we apply them in-house, but we need even stronger growth. I also put the hotspot in the south, the GreenTech Valley, on, which is the powerhouse of this transition, and the companies grew in regards of turnover 300%, and also international rankings see Austria in #1 position. So there are a lot of solutions here. We can build up upon European numbers, but how do we apply them now to reach this speed track? Thank you for the slide. Judith, regarding laws and framework conditions, how can your ministry support tackling these challenges, and especially in the household and mobility sector? How can we gain momentum, which is now needed? We need a Corona effect every year. We don't need Corona, but we need the Corona effect every year once again to reach this target. How can we do this?
Yeah, that's can I? Is this on? Yeah. That's a hard question, and I'm also, that's sort of framing COVID with energy transition always difficult. But I see the sort of why you want to do this, because this is the biggest effort that we've made recently, kind of to really change around on a short notice. So what can the ministry do to support? I will do what every ministry does first when that question comes up. We can't do it alone. We can do a lot, but we can't do it alone, because energy planning and what I try to point out in my opening statement is that we're really moving into the planning of systems now, and that is a shared competence in Austria between the federal level and the provinces, of course. So, and I'm going to sort of make the connection to your statement, Franz. Electricity sector, yes, massive deployment of electricity is still needed, and although, and I agree with you, that is not a contradiction to energy efficiency, because thinking of hydrogen, thinking of electrification of a lot of use cases, we need more electricity than we use today. I'm still not so worried about this because we're there, we're ready, and looking at this chart, I mean, I hate to see this go to waste, you know, all of this innovative potential. We're there, we need dedicated areas to just build the power plants now, yeah. And this is something where we're really hoping to make some headway now with in cooperation with the Bundesländer. So that's the electricity side. But you've asked me to speak also about households. So for the households, obviously the biggest challenge that I see now is the sort of moving away from fossil fuel use in the heating sector. There, again, I'm really hopeful when it comes to the technologies and the companies offering technologies. We've seen incredible development in heating technologies, heat pumps, also district heating, massive levels of innovation there. What is sort of sluggish and difficult in this area is that the infrastructure is so long-lived, hard to manage. We're talking about pipes in the ground. We're talking about sort of old buildings that need to be renovated. So there's to plan this and to know when to start, you know, sort of where do I start first? Where do I not really know what's the solution going to be? Where do I go next? So this is a planning effort that we're at the moment quite far advanced. Together with the provinces in the ministry, we've designed a heat, renewable heat strategy. We have prepared a Renewable Heat Act that is ready to go, really, and which will phase out all oil and coal-fired heating systems by 2035 and all gas-fired, fossil gas-fired heating systems by 2040. So that's on the way. We also have supplemented that with a massive subsidy, environmental subsidy program, which is called Raus aus Öl, which supports very generously households that are willing to shift to a renewable-based system, up to 100% for poor households. So these are things that are on the way. I'm probably forgetting a number of things. As I said, we're really busy, but I think this is the main area where we're.
Thank you so much. Mobility will be the next step.
Mobility will be the next step. I'm not very well placed to be talking about mobility. That's why I keep ignoring your question. I'm sorry.
We get an answer. Thank you so much, Judith. Thomas, you represent research, GreenTech research in Austria. What have we as a country, as the research community have learned? What is already applied with regards to industry, but also to other aspects?
Yeah, thanks, Bernhard. I think what we have learned is that they already mentioned, how should I say this, top-down considerations, that they are fully all right. So we have to speak on energy efficiency, we have to speak on the deployment of renewable energies here in the country as massive as possible, and that is new, we have to speak on diversification of our energy supply. You have spoken on 300 terawatt hours of energy in Austria. That is only final energy. When we speak on total energy, it's 400 terawatt hours, which makes the problem even, or not the problem, the challenge, as we all have learned, even larger. And when you look on industry, then 135 something terawatt hours go there, not only as a final energy carrier, but also for the processes. And when we look on the industry now closely, and when we reflect all those top-down approaches on industry, then we see four big like technology pillars which we have to apply in industry. One is electrification. Electrification mainly, but not solely, in the low temperature heating area of industry. We speak on high temperature heat pumps, for instance, with that regard. There we also see some Austrian companies which are coming up, and we see from year to year how the temperature of industrial heat pumps is going up. It's not only low temperature heat which can be electrified. It's also high temperature heat and heat for that kind of processes. But I would say the waste majority that can be electrified is via heat pumps.
Solutions like these, I think, are demonstrated in flagship energy regions.
There is a lot of those technologies also being demonstrated up to now. Lenzing, for instance, Austrotherm, they present that kind of technologies. There is this project LEAP, you might know. This is going to be demonstrated. Beside the electrification, there is the big pillar renewable gases, and here there is some like boundaries being missing. We speak a lot of electrification, and we speak about deployment of solar power and that kind of stuff for the production of electricity, but we also have to expand our renewable gas potentials in Austria. This is at the moment not so strong here. However, we know that in Austria there is not sufficient potentials being available for supplying all of our demands in future with that regard. And in that regard, it also has to be said that we want to replace coal, for instance, in the iron and steel sector, and therefore we need additional amounts of gas which have to be brought up. Yeah, hydrogen is a big topic in that regard, and yeah, what is there going to be demonstrated in Donauwitz, in the big steel mill of voestalpine? They wanna yeah, deploy this technology. There is a sign 5 minutes left, so we have to speed up a bit. Yeah. So another big pillar is carbon capture usage. Yeah, also here there is something going on in Austria. There is this big C2 bed project you might know, but also in the iron and steel industry this makes sense to discuss about, not in voestalpine but for Breitenfeld Edelstahl. We investigate at the moment how carbon dioxide that comes out of the Lidl fires there can be used as a process chemical, and we are at the moment starting up this demo plant. And the fourth pillar that goes fully in line with the new Kreislaufwirtschaftsinitiative is recycling, and we have big tradition also with that regard in Austria. Here there is also some nice demo projects we also demonstrate in our flagship regions. DCP for industry is one of those projects.
So climate action also requires circular economy and a kind of carbon cycle management, if I got you right, also in terms of renewable gases. Thank you so much for making a point here. I know there's a lot of things to say, Thomas. Franz, you are the one that makes plans and has scales in his charts in the plans of the future. We always hear about electrification of industry, of mobility, probably households with heat pumps. How will you manage this transformation? And I know that you have a quite interesting accelerator program. What are you looking for? What is needed to make this speedy transition happen?
Thanks, Bernhard. I think Verbund has a quite clear strategy where we're focusing on building up a lot of new renewable energy in the field of wind and solar. We're having a new strategic pillar in the field of green hydrogen, and the core is to strengthen our home market in Austria with hydropower and with solutions for our industrial and household customers. I think we will get, if we take it as granted that we will reach the renewable targets and get the scale up done, I think then we have new challenges ahead, which we now have to think how we can solve it. First answer in this respect, we will need a lot of more storage capacities in order to do the shifting between winter and summer and between the different regions. Just to let you know, in Austria we have at the moment 3.3 terawatt hours hydropower storage capacity. If we reach the renewable targets by 2030, we will need 3 times this storage capacity by 2030. Another issue is, and I just look in the eyes of Walter Geisel, who is one of the pioneers in the startup ecosystem in energy in Austria. If you look at across the border to Germany, in 2013, in Germany, they had about 5,000 solar storage systems in place. So decentralized storage systems. But do you know how many installed systems with solar and storage Germany had last year installed? It's 80 times higher. So last year they had 400,000 solar storage systems in place. So if you look at our neighbors, there is the potential to really scale it. And if you can scale it with technologies provided by Austria, that would be wonderful. And we need this scale also in order to reach our own targets in Austria. Another issue is to decarbonize, to make zero emissions in the industry, like voestalpine in the steel industry. We built a pilot plant a couple of years ago with voestalpine and Siemens, in order to showcase green hydrogen for steel companies. If you have a look at the global picture, if you like really to reach by 2050 decarbonize steel industry on a global scale, we have to open every month 2 green hydrogen-based steel factories. So it's really an issue to get the technologies right and bring also the scaling down, because otherwise it would be too late. So there are huge challenges in bringing technologies down the road.
Thank you so much. It's not about technology only, it's about solutions, integrated solutions that can be applied. We're right in time for one short question from the audience. Can you say no? You won't get it. Here's the camera.
You hold it. Okay. Okay. I have a short question concerning the electrical energy production. As far as I remember, the figures I heard was based on something like 43 terawatt hours per year now. In 2030, the plan was 70 something, and in 2040, 200 terawatt hours. So are those figures based on Austrian produced electrical energy or also on imported green energy?
Friends, this is yours.
Let's give it to you, Franz.
Yeah, maybe the targets came from the government, but I think we have to see a broader picture and include also neighboring countries, because we will not solve it alone in Austria. Yeah.
Yeah, so the answer is it's not Austrian produced electrical energy.
Yeah, it's the needed consumption. Yeah.
So we'll still have imports. We're looking forward to new energy partnerships. I say thank you to the whole audience. Thank you, Franz. Thank you, Thomas. And of course, thank you, Judith, for being here with us. And for you back home, I would like to, thank you so much. I would like to invite you to have a look at further solutions that are online. Here, the GreenTech Valley in Austria provides a lot of, next slide, provides a lot of solutions for green efficiency, heat, energy, mobility, circular and building. Find all these online, for example, at greentech.at. Thank you so much for this presentation. We're now heading towards the second block. We are looking at specific fields of innovation. You probably got the impression that Austria is quite strong in terms of green electricity and green heat. And we have 4 companies which will do a 5 to 7 minute presentation, and afterwards questions only from the audience. Sorry, we would be very happy to answer the online questions afterward. You're invited to do so. So the first round of presentation will be done by Urbas. It's a family-owned company since 1929, and we've got one of the family member, Peter Urbas, he's CEO, here with us. Thank you so much for the presentation of Urbas.
So, dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for having the possibility to give you a short presentation what possibility we have to support in this case today for energy providing of thermal energy or even electric power. As you heard, we are a family-owned company. We are in 2 fields. It means steel structure and energy technology. Today, energy technology. Next page. I will give you a presentation of 3 projects. The first one is Utilitas is in Estonia. Here we installed a steam power plant by 2 times 23 tons of steam by 20 bar and 500 degrees. The power output is about 10 megawatt electric power and 37 megawatt of thermal output. Including 9 megawatt from flue gas condensation. This is a very intelligent project, because if they come back very cold from the net, they can increase the total efficiency. What they are firing, this is wood biomass, natural wood biomass up to 50% water content. The situation before, it was 3 boiler fired with natural gas, and now they have 2 boiler fired with only wood biomass. And the benefit is less CO2 emission and reducing of dependency of fossil fuel. Some impressions. in Estonia, they have the plan or the program Renewable Energy 100%. That means that until 2030, they want to have only renewable energy, and this installation can be a part of. The next one is a smaller installation. This is in France, Colmar, Chauffage Urbain. This is located just in town of Colmar. It's a steam process. The steam power plant is about 12 megawatt steam, about 192 degrees of temperature, and the heat output is 8 megawatt thermal. Fired also again with wood biomass up to 60%. This is the maximum you can use. Before they had a heavy oil boiler. Now they have the boiler for wood biomass, and the benefit is the same as before. Less CO2 emissions and reducing of fossil fuel. About 2,800 tons per year of heavy oil. These are some impressions of. And the next project, to give you an impression, is Prijedor. This is in Bosnia and Herzegovina. This is 2 times 10 megawatt hot water boiler, including a CHP of wood gas. They are heating the town with this 2 megawatt, 10 megawatt, 2 times 10 megawatt in winter time, and the 250 kilowatt of electric power coming out from the CHP can give the power for electric power using in the heating power plant, and they are developing, giving the electric power which is too much to the grid. Before they were also firing heavy oil, now they are firing wood biomass with up to 60% water content, and before the profit was negative, and now they could change the profit of positive. The same benefit as before, CO2 and independent of fossil fuels. Yeah, some impressions of this installation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter, for being ahead of time. I was really curious. We heard about the Ukrainian war, and now industry is looking for ways to get out of fossils, oil and gas. Have you increased calls from industry that want to have your solutions now?
Yes, now many companies are contacting us because they weren't going out from most of natural gas, and there are companies coming out from food industry, chemical industry. They are using steam process. So of course, you can steam use for electric power or even for process steam. And the demand will be increased a lot. Of course, you need the wood biomass, for sure. But if you have small divisions of power plants, you have a short area or a small area where you are collecting the wood biomass, and this will be always possible because if you have huge power plant, you have a lot of transport. Yeah? But locally, it's very easy to have the power.
So there is also a local value added, so to say, with your projects, despite instead of dependencies we see now.
Yes, it is.
Can such systems be a long-term solution, and what direction do you think it will develop?
Yes, it can, because if you have such installations locally, and in Austria, you know, we have a lot of installations of district heating systems in small villages. There's the people will also have work on site, and the main important point is, I think, the trees will always growing up. We don't need to make holes for getting out gas or coal. The trees will always growing.
Thank you so much. So if you have steam processes with your company, I think Peter will be the one to get into contact.
We would like.
You've seen the slide. I think it will be also in the download section, and for the audience here at the coffee break and the lunch break.
Thank you much.
Thank you so much, Peter, for being with us. We're doing a round trip through Austria, the GreenTech Valley. This was now Peter Urbas from Carinthia, from the south. We're moving further on to Tyrol, to IDM Energy Systems. I welcome Markus Heinzer. He's the expert on having heat done with heat pumps. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Hello, thank you for the invitation to make a short presentation about our company and also about possibilities with heat pumps. IDM Energiesysteme is part of the Plätzer Group, which consists of immovals, tourism and industry, and IDM Energiesysteme is part of the industry section. Was founded in 1977 in Tyrol, is technology leader in commercial heat pumps for single houses and industrial buildings up to 1,500 kilowatt. At the moment we have more than 600 employees in our company in Matrei. Our portfolio of heat pumps consists of brine or water-to-water heat pumps in the size from 2 kilowatt up to 280 kilowatt as single machines, and in cascade we can manage up to 1.5 megawatt. Air source heat pumps, monoblock or split versions of them in the size from 2 kilowatt up to 60 kilowatt. We are very proud of about our Navigator controller, Navigator 2.0, included with a single room controller. This controller is managing the whole heat pump system, but also can manage a lot of controls, which is normally done by a BMS system. As a reference, I want to show you some facts about a hotel. It's the Hotel Das Bayerische Zell in Bavaria with 280 beds. There are 70 employees, and this hotel has a turnover of 5.6 million per year. The operating hour in the hotel is nearly 8,000 hours per year, with overnight stays of around 45,000. The total area which is covered from this hotel is more than 7,000 square meters. The total electric power consumption is nearly 500,000 kilowatt hours per year, and therefore the heat pump is using 300,000 kilowatt. We covered from a PV system 140,000 kilowatt, and the rest comes from green power from the mains grid. The heating, cooling and domestic hot water system consists of air-sourced and ground-sourced heat pumps with a total capacity of 680 kilowatt approximately. Therefore, we use 3 heat pumps only for domestic hot water with 312 kilowatt heating power. Then ground-sourced heat pump with 310 kilowatt for heating and cooling, and 2 air-sourced heat pumps with each 56 kilowatt also for heating. The whole system consists of heating, cooling and domestic hot water buffers with different volumes, so we are able to cover all the demand from the hotel, the spa area and so on. The installed photovoltaic system consists of 460 modules with an area of covered from 816 square meters. We have 7 inverters in this installation. They are from Fronius, and the peak performance of this system is around 160 kW peak. The smart PV integration with our Navigator 2 controller is, or therefore we use Fronius inverters, because with them we have a direct network communication with our controller, so we know how many energy is available, and with our Navigator controller we can use this energy and distribute the energy for heating, for cooling, and for domestic hot water. The total energy consumption from Bayerisch Zell, measured in kilowatt hours per square meters, is 110, and you see the benchmark is around 180 kilowatt hour per square meter, so very efficient hotel. And the total CO2 emission is around, measured in kilogram per square meter, is around 1.7. So also in comparison with the benchmark, it is very, very good. The summary: we use high efficient heat pumps from IDM in this hotel. We use green power and the photovoltaic system, and with the intelligent cross-linking of the air source and ground source heat pumps in combination with the controller and PV system, we are able to reduce the CO2 production by more than 96% in comparison to a natural gas system and with the Austrian electricity mix. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Markus, for these impressive figures. I always thought the sun is shining in summertime and the heat is needed in wintertime, but you somehow do some magic and combine it quite intelligently, is it? Exactly. Please take the micro.
Exactly, yeah.
How is it done? What do you do with the summer electricity, and how can you do it so cleverly to have that big rate of PV being used also for heating in wintertime?
Yeah, you know, also in winter time, sun is shining and PV systems are working when the sun is shining, so we have a lot of energy also during winter time. We use this energy to run the heat pumps, and in summertime we use this energy to run the heat pumps for cooling, and therefore it is possible to use a lot of our own produced energy in this system.
What do you do with peak electricity in summertime, or by your customers?
They send it to the grid.
Okay. You're now on the markets with private consumers, but also with industries. What trends do you see now on the market, especially regarding the development of the last months?
We see a massive increase of requests for heat pumps. Most of them are requests for air source heat pumps, around 80%. 20% we are requested for ground source heat pumps. So I think we were on a good way, and now with the war in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine, this way is fast forward. So it's a massive increase since the last months.
How can IDM provide this speed also to delivered products?
Yeah, we do our best to increase our production. We do our best to increase efficiency, to develop new products, also to develop new products with low GWP refrigerants. At the moment we are on the way to use R290, so it's a very low GWP refrigerant, and yeah, that's the way we go.
Thank you so much for your presentation, for these insights into green heat with IDM heat pumps. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We stay with the heat, but we do it in a different way. We use the sun heat directly, and probably we find other ways to have the sun from the summer being used in wintertime. Christian Holter, he's pioneer. I think everybody knows him in the room, and also on the monitors. A lot of will know you. You're expert in solar heating and cooling in industrial applications, as well as solar district heating. Christian, I'm looking forward to an update on Solid Solutions. Thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, here and online. Thanks for the invitation. So I'm actually working on the solar heating and cooling side, and the issue today is not producing energy anymore. It is really matching the systems to the customer's needs, to the energy system needs, and built here a very good integration. And actually, I use here a quote of a customer quite recently. He told me, you know, you are the solution architect for integrating this into our networks. And I think it's a quite important thing to keep that in mind. Not only putting out panels and collectors and boilers, but really getting the integration right. I'll put you on a short travel, so different applications for different countries to show you what we can do. So I'm starting in Nicaragua, emerging economy, and in the health and hospitality sector. This sector is using worldwide tremendous amounts of hot water for sanitary reasons, for the kitchens, for cleanup, but as well heating and air conditioning. And in this specific project, we could cover more than 50% of the overall building's energy bill by a solar system, which has taken over 100% on all the hot water demands and has taken over, a little bit depending on the load profiles, 40 to 50% on the air conditioning demands. And so the remaining for sure is some electricity for the lighting. The remaining is a little bit peak management on the cooling side, but that's what solar can do here. And stating here it's a number 3 system in the world, I can tell you we've done number 1 and 2 as well, but they're in different sectors. Moving now from the health and hospitality to district heating. And here we have a very special focus on Europe, on Central Asia, because here district heating is really good developed. What we started more than 20 years back is saying, well, it doesn't really make any sense in district heating burning any fossil fuels during summers. That's something where solar collectors easily can provide the required temperatures and take over the summer operation. And at the same time, you avoid a low efficiency operation of boilers, neither biomass or whatever. So that's something which is quite well established, and there are a few hundred systems around today in Europe. But that's not the pain point of the district heating companies. That's the winter load for sure. And what is a trend which got a lot of attention over the last years is now saying, okay, we need to store this solar heat somehow. And you see here a picture on the right side with one of the storages. And today we have 9 smaller cities, some of them in Asia, some of them in Europe, which really run between 50 and 90% of the district heating by using solar energy, by using a seasonal storage and providing that in winter time. The toughest system is the storage on the right. That's located in Tibet, 4,800 meters above sea level. Tremendous cold in winter, but plenty of sunshine. And those guys get 90% of the heating demand from the solar system. And we said, well, it's nice to have that all around the world, but how can we convert that to the large cities we have here? Cities which have maybe not the perfect integration interfaces by high temperatures, extremely high temperatures sometimes in district heating, and we have space areas. So we started developing this concept for applications in Europe. We have close cooperation here with different development banks for Eastern Europe countries. And I can tell you, I'm quite sure some of these systems will materialize within the very next few years. And district heating in Europe is 600 terawatt hours. Of this, more than 80% is still fossil-based, natural gas, coal, all the things we want to get rid of. And this is a technology that can contribute here with locally available energy. And talking about economics on that. A few years back, people were saying, we love solar, but who can afford that? The first door opener was taking Austrian utility managers to existing plants in Denmark. The CEO of the Danish solar system told, you know, the best thing we did on these systems, we could lower our heat cost to our customer immediately by 15% because the annuity we have to pay for the solar system is less than the costs we previously had for fuels. So this is a huge potential. It is at the beginning, but that's something where we need to go and where we really have many, many terawatt hours to roll out as well in Austria. Moving away from district heating now to the building sector again, and here going to the sector of malls, offices, educational building, airports. I call that infrastructure building. You have typically very long lifetime of the building, so people are open to think long term. And in these systems, getting you an example out of Singapore, we have one mall of IKEA which is cooled with one of our systems. The nice part of that is when you have peak load on solar, you have usually peak demand of air conditioning as well, so there's a very good match in between that. The same thing works actually perfectly in the educational sector. There we have two other big systems in Arizona, one of the hottest climates worldwide, and another one in Singapore, where you really can use on the building the radiation coming in onto the building for creating the chilled water which is needed to get comfortable climate in this building. And in the bottom lines, you always see some other customers where we could work with similar systems. A nice thing is here a link to the electricity. Typically in many countries you have the most difficult situations in the electric grid caused by air conditioning. This is the peak load. This is where the grid and the generation really comes to the limits. This technology is taking out this from the grid because you have a local on-building generation. You make heat. With this heat you create chilled water and there's no interaction with the electricity grid. This is why in Arizona the utilities actually started funding that, because they said for us it's more economic to help such systems coming up than to extend the capacity of our grid. Now, last sector I'm talking about industry. Industry, and we've heard about, has huge heat demand, and frankly speaking, solar cannot do anything on that, because when we talk about the iron and steel industry, this is too high temperatures for established and affordable solar solutions. However, we have a lot of hot water demand in many applications like cleaning, washing, pasteurization, bleaching, cooking, etc. And just listening here, some sectors, food and beverage industry, and really in beverage you have almost everything from wineries, milk industry, soft drinks, beer. You always have heat processes between 1500 degrees C, 1510, which perfectly suit for solar thermal applications. The other topics, textile industry, a very big producer of carbon emissions. I recently got a project on my table from an Indian supplier which produces 6 million tons CO2 per year on one facility in the textile sector. 80% of that is heat, so huge emissions there. But as well, pharmaceutic, chemical, mining are very attractive potentials here. And for industry, it's mostly about the heat. Sometimes we have as well cooling demand we can add on. Here I'm quite proud. The project listed here with AVL in Graz is actually the first industrial project where we could combine solar heat for the processes, solar cooling as well for the processes, and all this is embedded in an energy service contract with a heat purchase agreement. So I think you have seen some variety of what we can do. We are located in Graz. We have offices both in San Diego and in Singapore. And I think solar is an energy resource we have worldwide. It's just take it and use it. Thanks.
Thank you, Christian, for cool and hot ideas on how to utilize the sun and to bring it from winter to summer, no, the other way around, from summer to winter. What do you see right now, the developments on the markets, especially since the last months? Gas prices going up, industries calculating in Austria now gas prices with 100 euros a megawatt hour. What do you see being the trend of the year? Will it be rather the cities with their big solutions for heating? Will it be rather the industries now getting rid of gas and utilizing solar thermal solutions?
Yeah. The very short-term trend is a very short-term outlook, and sadly many people do not consider solar as the very immediate solution. It's a kind of phase 2 solution. So the very quick move I see more towards biomass, where everything at the moment is saying, okay, I have a gas boiler today, I get a biomass boiler for next winter, hopefully. And solar is really more the more strategic approach for the next level. So still we see for sure a total different attitude when you talk about economics, because people suddenly say, well, you promised us 40 euro per megawatt hour of one of these plants a year ago. At that time we were buying gas for half of it. Now the situation is a different one. And so the level of requests definitely is increasing, but it's still at the level, I would say, of early stage requests where people want to check out what is about that. It's not yet pictured in the order book.
And I think it also the combination of solar thermal plus PV to use the strengths of both sides, is it?
Right. So what we do sometimes for customers when they approach us and say, look, I've got hectares of roof area and this is my energy profile. Actually what we do is we specifically see what are your thermal needs and what are your electric needs and how can we make a best value solution for you. And generally I would say for thermal applications like heating and cooling, you're typically better off with a solar thermal application. When you have electric needs, for sure you need solar PV, and the strengths we have, being not a manufacturer but being a system integrator, we really have no preference out of our own for the one or the other. We can develop the best solution for the specific customer.
Thank you so much, Christian, for these integrated solutions. Moving on from Styria now to Up Austria. Very warm welcome to Heinz-Peter Knaas. He's the CEO of Global Hydro Energy, and Global Hydro is a leader in the field of hydropower plant technologies, especially for small and medium scale areas. And I'm really looking forward to have your presentation on how to produce green electricity worldwide with your technologies.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Austrian companies, they are also dominating the hydropower business worldwide since years. And Global Hydro is one of the leading companies, probably the most digitalized companies in the small hydro business. And Global Hydro designs and produces turbines and the whole electromechanical design for small hydropower plants. That means up to a turbine, a single turbine capacity of 30 megawatts. We are one of the last remaining European producers on the world market, and over the last 6 years, we tripled the turnover of the company, and we were always focused on innovation in this old industry and on digitalization. A few figures about Global Hydro. We have an export ratio of more than 95% since many, many years. Per year we produce around 60 turbines, up to 30 megawatts per turbine capacity. We have 12 subsidiaries worldwide, and in total worldwide around 290 employees. Today I will use the chance to talk with you about our innovation fields. I will talk with you a little bit about digitalization in hydropower business. Hydro is a very conservative business, so let's see how both will match. The impact of the climate change on the hydropower business, and I will show you just a few examples. I will give you some impulses of how we do the technology innovations in our company. Global Hydro was always fighting on the world market as an Austrian supplier for the niche market leadership in the small hydro business. And for us, the customer-orientated digitalization is becoming more and more a real USP for a European company, and the digitalization itself is becoming, with a very high speed, an integral part of the hydropower business worldwide. One advantage of the digitalization is the possible improve of the efficiency of an hydropower plant over the whole life cycle of the hydropower plant. At Global Hydro, many years ago, we saw this opportunity and we created HEROS. HEROS is our power plant operating and management system. It's the beating heart of our customer-orientated digitalization strategy. And it's our way to help our customers to optimize the operating of the hydropower plants worldwide and to higher the efficiency. We are using today's technologies. Today we are already in the 4th generation of these systems, today we use IoT hubs to collect, let's say, every thinkable sensor signal in a hydropower plant. We grab it and we can visualize it and we can can use pressure, vibration, acoustic signals or temperature signals to optimize the operation conditions of the power plant and to help the operators worldwide, based in Austria, from Austria, to higher the energy output with a minor investment, more or less, and to increase the feasibility of the power plant worldwide. The COVID-19 pandemic changed a lot in our organization. Today I can say that COVID-19 also at Global Hydro accelerated the digitalization of our business, of our organization, and it forced us to some unexpected innovation. And one of this innovation is, we call it the remote commissioning or the dual commissioning. So before COVID-19, we did the commissioning process of a hydropower plant like all the others did it. We sent our highly qualified people with the plan somewhere to a hydropower plant on the planet, and our employees in cooperation with the local employees realized the commissioning step per step. Suddenly, where we were no more able to travel, all the borders were closed, and huge power plants project of Global Hydro were in the final stage, waiting for our people to come and to realize the commissioning. The solution was digitalization. We used our already existing HERO system, and we created within some weeks a new software platform that allows us to guide local employees in close cooperation with our control center in Austria through the whole commissioning process. And during the COVID pandemic, it was possible for us to realize the commissioning of power plants in Vietnam, in Argentina, and also on the Philippines very easily. And of course, we will keep that technology. It saves time and also CO2 emissions because we save the flights during the commissioning. A logic step for us is also the integration of machine learning algorithm into our latest version of the HERO system. So one use case, for example, is the detection of abrasion in a hydropower plant. Imagine if you have a high water event, a heavy rain season somewhere, and a lot of sediments are coming into the water. Such a constellation can damage a turbine, let's say, within days or within weeks. The question for the operator or for the investor is, should I stop the turbine or should I stay in operation and earn money? And should I refurbish the turbine later on? It's a nice example for the use of artificial intelligence. In our system, we combine key parameters that indicates the answer to that question. Earning or stopping and doing the refurbishment later on. At the end, it's a question of how fast will the water damage the turbine and of the energy price to that point of time. Yeah, one field, we discussed it already a lot today, is the climate change. And yes, it is also affecting the renewables, all of the renewables, and especially also the hydropower. Please excuse the charts. The most important chart is the one on the right side from your point of view. Here you can see how the flow duration curve of a river or of rivers worldwide is changing. Today we have in many rivers much more high water events, flooding events, and at the end we have huge dry seasons, longer dry seasons. So that means the available amount of water, the flow is going down. And we have to react. The hydropower business, the technology companies from Austria have to react. We have to adapt the turbines. We have a huge already installed basis of hydropower plants worldwide, and it is possible to change the turbine geometry or the type of the turbine in the power plant to higher the efficiency even if less water is available. So what we did at Global Hydro is we developed a completely new type of turbine to replace Francis turbines. So you can see here the blue chart, yes, the blue curve, sorry, is going down to an efficiency, to a discharge of 5%. That means we can operate our new type of turbine with 5% of the available water with efficiency that is quite okay. Normally with the Francis turbine you can go down to 30% of the discharge, and then the efficiency is disappearing. Besides our innovations on the digitalization sector and on, let's say, new geometries and new types of turbine, we as an European, as an Austrian company, we are facing competitors from China, from India. We are on the world market, and for us it is important to secure our company, our organization in Austria, and we are looking for new technologies, how we are able to produce on a world market price in Austria, and how it is possible in the same time to hire also the lifetime of the parts of the hydropower plant. So we are actually investing a lot in 3D metal printing technologies. Here you can see on the slide a runner which was completely designed for a laser sinter technology. These technologies will allow us completely new designs of the parts. Today we are limited by the tools and by the machines which we use traditionally to produce such runners. In future we can hire the lifetime by using, let's say, more expensive, high quality materials in combination with cheaper materials. You can see here this runner ring it's a cheap material, and the blades, they are high quality material that costs a lot. We did the same also for Belton turbines. Here you can see also fully on the left side the model, and on the right side the prototype which we printed already. And here we did it for a test constellation together with the university to check different kind of materials in a long time test in the field. So Global Hydro is focusing on the innovation fields of digitalization and of course on new let's say innovative technologies, how we produce the turbines in the future based in Europe.
Water, a force of nature full of potential, reflects power and is a symbol of life. Filled with energy, water keeps everything going. It is vital for us and for nature. We at Global Hydro develop sustainable solutions to harness this power around the world. For that, we always go one step further. Digitalization is the key to success, to even more control, even more safety, and above all, even more efficiency. Our Digital Support Center guarantees the frictionless commissioning, monitoring, and operations of your power plants, no matter where you are. A smart way to maximize the potential of each site. Building a livable environment for us and future generations. Unlimited, innovative power drives our technologies forward to set flexible and visionary new standards. Throughout the entire life cycle of each power plant, Global Hydro is a strong partner our customers can rely on worldwide. It is always one drop, That means everything or nothing. Keeps everything going and provides security and quality of life. Inspiring passion for hydropower is what drives us. And together, we can build a sustainable future. Global Hydro. Visionary power, wherever you want.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Heinz-Peter Knaus. I think very impressive how the established pioneers are pioneering and pioneering and pioneering. One very short question. You mentioned the global hydro vision turbine that will replace a traditional Francis turbine. But which year do you expect this global hydro vision to come true?
Next month. So we are...
I talked about scaling up.
At the end of the patenting process, so it's forbidden for me to share it in detail, but I can make a teaser, so stay tuned, check it on our homepage.
Thank you so much, Heinz-Peter Knaus from Global Hydro. Thank you for being with us. So this was a set of pioneers, established pioneers that have grown to big companies, and we see now the next generation of pioneers coming up, the ones that are scaling, and even now the established companies are scaling from years to months. We see a few startups, and you can even discover more startups on the climate tech startup landscape here on the screen and as well on the link given below. So we counted the GreenTech, climate tech startups in Austria, and we present you here 125 most promising startups to watch, to follow, and to cooperate with. We have 3 on the floor now, and the first is a special one because it helps to generate this overview of the Austrian green tech startup landscape. It's Reinhard Fuchs, and he's the CCO and co-founder from Glacier, showing solutions how companies can successfully transform people and their climate impact. Thank you so much, Reinhard, for being with us.
Right. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yes, who works in forestry here? Forestry? Agriculture? Okay. It's good. You're all pioneers in the green tech field. However, well, I was born and raised in Carinthia, and with a little family forest. And what you can see here is a picture from this forest, and the thing what you can experience there is the scale and the speed of climate change. And we have seen a lot of the things already today, and it's just magnificent how the speed was changing and is still changing. What I mean by that is that you plant trees nowadays, or you can plant trees nowadays that were quite normal 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And well, I thought about myself that you always refer to the climate change as kind of like the biggest problem in the human life nowadays, despite of course of wars and so on. But what how we affect the planet is one of the biggest challenges. And we asked ourselves, what do we do as companies to solve the problems? How much time do you give your employees to give a substantial part to solve the crisis, solve the climate crisis? I'm pretty sure you know, you're all aware of the negative effects of, well, of the climate change on the society and the economy, besides us being here and developing really pioneering solutions, which is great. However, if you see it on a global scale and a macro level, it's dramatically. This led us to not only establishing a green tech landscape, a climate tech landscape with the GreenTech cluster, because we wanted to see what are the pioneers out there in Austria, in our country, because we always refer ourselves as well, one of the leading countries, and we truly are. But we have also spotted another problem here. It's about the education, about what you can do in terms of solving that, and what you can do as an like the climate crisis, and what you can do as a sole company. We came up with 2 products here. We call it the Climate Week and also the Climate Academy. You can see the Climate Week as kind of like a sustainability day as a service, or a week as a service. What we mean with that? You learn, you act, and you connect with others. It's quite simple. You try to, we provide you with 2 live streams on the beginner and the expert level, just on climate crisis and how you can refer to that in your own company, because we are kind of obliged to act as company. Also, because we still emit carbon emissions and we still emit fossil fuels, or like produce fossil fuels. We act. So we try to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, and of course, it's something also very important in our opinion is the connect part, connecting with other companies. How you can deal with that? It's kind of like an overview of what the week could look like. We provide you with modules on acting on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, everything prepared with an online platform, but of course also having the inspiring live stream. On the day 1, as you can see it, it's in the 2nd week of October. You also have, well, actually, Andreas Jäger, you saw him already today. He's speaking about climate change basics, but also other inspiring speakers. Because if I explain it to, well, the audience, well, some of you might listen, but if Andreas Jäger or Markus Watzag and the known figures, the people in Austria tell that, well, you believe him perhaps more often. Last year we had 21,000 people on the live stream, participating employees in Austria, and we would like to scale it this year. Another thing is that we started at Glacier 2.5 years ago with a CO2 calculator, fully automated with reduction measures, with solution providers, bright startups out in here. Walter is sitting here with Neum Group. He's also part of our carbon manager. Problem is, people still don't know what to do and how to act when it comes to combating the climate crisis in the company. So it's really about educating the people. And this is something what was of surprise for me, because I thought, well, half of the media is full of climate change, but in fact, the employees don't know it, the companies don't know it, how to act on that, what to do. It's as simple as, well, coming up with a climate action strategy. It's not that difficult, it's not rocket science, it's really about certain stages you have to follow. So we came up with an education platform. We're trying to bring the knowledge into the companies, and it's again not about just like pure experts, because you all are aware, you are kind of like the sustainability experts in the field, but there are thousands and millions of employees out there who don't really know what to do when it comes to climate change, and they are anxious, they are, well, nervous, they are kind of like negative about it, but it's not that difficult. It's really about building a basic knowledge. Every job will be a climate job in the future. It's kind of already now, but this is very important. We have to have a certain basic climate knowledge so that every choice we're doing, and think about your employees, they are, well, having thousands of choices every day. We all have thousands of choices every day. They should be more eco-friendly. So we divided that in 2 courses. In the basic course, everybody can take part of it. We had CEOs, we had well, apprentices and so on. But also we divided it into advanced course, starting at the next one, starting at the end of May, really building the climate action strategy for every company. Also, if you're acting in the field of green tech. Yeah, again, it's not us doing that. It's the experts from, well, you name it, the ZAMK, the Umweltbundesamt, the Environmental Agency of Austria, the university, the WU University, and so on and so forth. What is coming up next? What we're building right now is an education platform, going even more modular, saying, well, we would like to go into certain industries, into certain areas of the companies, because it's not only about one single department, it's not only about the sustainability department, it's really about going into, well, it's a massive problem for your human resources department, it's a massive problem for the marketing department. They all have to have a certain basic knowledge. It's not about being a complete expert, it's about dealing with the topic as it arises. And well, we're proud of our partners. Some of you have seen, like Franz from Verbund, for example, also Walter, they are partners with NEOM, and we are acting in 4 countries already. Well, I would like to close with the sentence of how much time do you give your employees to fight climate action?
Thank you, Reinhard Fuchs, for this presentation. Yes, you may. So I think we take away that climate action is teamwork. It's not a single person, a CEO saying we buy a new technology and we're good. No, it takes the people. How big is the potential that people can activate in terms of climate action? What's your guess?
Well, I think it's substantial. Sorry. And we always also talk about how big is the transformation for a company to go to like a sustainable company. And if you think about that, just 1 or 2% of the employees are working in it, that can work. This won't work. It's really about getting all the employees on board.
Thank you so much, Reinhard, for this lesson in teamwork. A big team, an ever-growing team, is provided by GoE, Susanne Palli, she's the CEO, and Ronald Crocker, he's head of sales from GoE. I'm really looking forward to new technologies to do the sector coupling, how to get the sun into electric cars then when the sun is there. Thank you so much, Susanne, and thank you, Ronald.
Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to our presentation. I feel happy to be here today. In fact, we both want to show you what GoE is all about. And I would like to start with a little story we have. We were founded in 2016 by a Kickstarter campaign with around 300,000 euros. And in 2017, we were sitting in a cold office because we couldn't afford heating anymore. So this is usually the point where most companies failed. But we just kept on working and we were fighting through. And in 2017, we came up with this idea of a charger who had it both a fair price for customers, but also as many features as possible to make it smart and intelligent. So the GoE charger was born in 2017 and we kept developing it further and further. And last year we were at the point where we reached a revenue of 31 million euros, which was like 4 times the revenue from the previous year. So it was a tough year for us, but we still kept going and we want to scale up like the last years, also in the continuing years. Today we are based on 3 major principles, which is innovation to lead our market on a technical view, intuition to develop easy usable products for all our customers, and inspiration to lead people into a more sustainable world. And now Ronald will tell us a little bit about our current products.
Thank you, Susanne. Yeah, we offer 2 charging stations for battery electric vehicles and plug-in electric vehicles. They look very similar and differ only in the view of how to install the product. So we offered in 2017 the first charging, the first wall box for the first wall box you could also take with you. Hello? Oh, that sounds better. The first wall box you can also take with you. And it comes with the possibility for simple installation. You just need to plug in this industrial CEE plug into the socket, or we offer adapters for other situations of charging. And the second product is the stationary charging station, which you could install with single or three-phase connection. And it's simpler to install like products of other competitors, because you only need to connect the cable to a junction box, and then the product is already able to charge. Yeah, we achieved to become the best and cheapest wallbox of 2022, but we became test winner from Stiftung Warentest, a non-profit organization from Germany, and the automobile clubs ADAC and AMTC. And one of the things why our products won is the app, which always comes with our product. Yeah, we promise very smart and also a product which offers high value for money. So the target of our developing team was, hey, there are charging stations which are very, very expensive, but you are only able to charge with it. And there are other charging stations which are cheap, but you also can only charge with it. So let's combine cheap and high value for money, many functions. So you can, there are functions like RFID, Wi-Fi, and so on, what's in many products, but we give answers for don't charge when electricity peak is there. So imagine you all come home at 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. and would begin to charge your car. So in this situation, we would rise our peak of electricity more than today, and we would have a problem to get all these power plants we would need for it. So we offer functions like a scheduler or integration of flexible electricity tariffs to charge during the night, even the morning, when no one needs light and all the other products you have at home. So we don't need to build such many power plants. Many people think. There are many people who come to us, hey, electricity, e-mobility can't work. We don't have so much electricity, but it works if you have the right solutions in your product. And there's also an API in our products, so you could integrate our product into any system you have at home, battery storage systems of different customer competitors, and PV integration is possible with any system which is available on the market. Yeah, and in addition, we offer some accessories like adapters, Type 2 charging cables, RFID chip, and there will be a new product this year, the GoE controller. It's for easier usage of PV surplus power and for dynamic load balancing. So customers will have more solutions to use their current in a sustainable way. Susanna?
Thank you so much. And in the end, we just wanted to say who we want to talk to. Of course, we're always interested to talk to potential resellers, installers, or any cooperation partners who would like to get to know us. And potential users, of course, also, as well as integrators. At the moment, we are targeting the German-speaking market, but also the northern markets now. And over the next 5 years, we want to target all of our European markets. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susanne. Thank you, Ronald. I think what a story. Kickstarter, code office, market leader. I personally am not neutral, you know. I love the products. They work pretty well with other Austrian technologies like from Fronius or from Kyoto to bring really the sun into electric cars. What are the next challenges? What are the next steps with that steep growth? I think you keep on a very aggressive growth still.
Yeah, we do. We want to grow much more. We also founded an office in Berlin last year, where our development is taking place now. And our main goal is to be the benchmark when it comes to smart charging solutions within the next 5 years. So we got plenty of work to do there.
Yeah. And may I add, tomorrow there's a Power to Drive trade fair in Munich. We don't have a booth there, but you could see our product 3 times from different companies.
Thank you so much for this really, truly inspiring story. Thank you so much for being with us here. The next story, I think, will go pretty the same. It's from Walter Kreisel. It's a name that is very well known in Austria with battery technology and so on. And he's also CEO and co-founder and founder, and I would say multiple entrepreneur. Is this the right wording? For PV installation, for gaining water out of the air for desert use, for storage, for energy sharing. And I'm really looking forward for the presentation of you, Walter, Neom. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Hello from the whole team of Neom and of the whole dealers we already have. Neom, our mission is infinite power for all of us, and with power we still mean also political power. We still mean independency of energy and especially of fossil fuels. So if we look, why is everything going out of fossil power is to decarbonize the planet. And there is so much potential for all of our customers. It doesn't matter if it's in the residential or in the commercial applications or the industry. There are the volatile markets, still big problem. So the energy increase of prices of costs is extremely high. We are not independent, and we have the blackout problem still here, and there's still the Green Deal of the European Union and the sustainability factor which we want to reach. And I would say there are so many startups like Glacier or GoE. They are the front runners, and I would say mostly the old oil fossil industry is not accepting that. Everybody in the renewable business, we see what happened. So the Neomiverse, how we call it, we see on the left side our premium partners. Our premium partners are our installers. So we produce products as a turnkey solution provider, which we offer to our installers. Now we have close to 200 dealers in the Swiss market, in the German market, in Luxembourg, and in Austria. And on the right side, you see the Neom app. So what means these are the customers, the users. It doesn't matter if it's the residential user or it's the commercial user. Everybody wants to control their CO2 footprint. They want to control their energy and want to be independent as much as possible. And in the middle of our center is the hardware. You still need the hardware. It's not only a software business. And you still need the connectivity. We call it the Internet of Energy. And combined with those 4 pillars, the Neom Group is a decentralized, digital, clean tech utility, which we offer to all our customers, our products. Our product line everything is based around the capacity. The capacity means any private and commercial customer end user needs flexibility in his home, needs to be blackout safe, and want to offer more car chargers and want to offer more of own consumption, peak shaving, and still add values of the grid-driven services. And that's why we are a turnkey solution manufacturer which offer that applications in a really rapid scale. And one of the major advantages is we also finance it. So any customer who will not pay the solution can have a PPA or a fixed income leasing from our side, which helps us to bring the energy transition to the customer. Doesn't matter if you have a shopping center with 400 chargers and a battery and a solar roof, or even you are a residential home. You can rent it or you can pay it. And I have brought to you two references, also a little bit more on the commercial side. There is IKEA in Vienna, near the Westbahnhof, where we installed a 1.2 megawatt hour storage. So we control that storage over the air, what means we connected the PRL, the frequency regulation, and we can gain 80,000 euros for our customer per year only for offering capacity. And the battery is also offering one thing more for our customer. The battery offers our customer a smaller diesel generator, because the Austrian law still says there is a diesel generator needed even if you have a blackout battery. And now we had 25% of the diesel power. So the original diesel power was about 680 kV power, and we installed about 100 kV only to accept the law that it have to be installed a diesel power for blackout scenarios. And it's very interesting because IKEA have so many sites and so many potential for chargers and solar that they create their own power plant and their own energy community within their vendors they produce and also their customers they consume. And if they make a 360-degree angle view on the application, it means they decarbonize from the production to the consumer over the whole life cycle. And so not only the car industry is thinking about that, and we help them to make that things going on. And also from my hometown, it makes me very proud. We have made the biggest, probably you hear the Energieausbaugesetz in Austria. We have a law where Austria is a front runner in the whole European Union, where we can connect buildings of municipalities or buildings from private people to save grid costs and tax. So you can share now energy between all of us, which helps us with our digital platform to be in the grid level 5, 6, and 7 to have more than 40% cost savings on energy when you share it with your neighbors. And in Freistadt, we already installed 656 kilowatt peak photovoltaic with our solar installers. We installed 134 kilowatt hour of battery in the first phase. This is in the school in the Gemeindezentrum, to have a blackout scenario there. And we already have close to 80% of self-reliance, which is really, really cool. And the cost savings about, I think, 48,000 a year, and it's paid off in 9 years. So, and this is a really cool project, what we offer. The NEOM Group, we started in 2019. We sold our first product in March 2019. We was about 32 employees and closed with 2 million. And now we are standing here in the 2022 with more than 150 system partners. We have more than 1,000 sites under management, financed from our background. And we closed with 41 million in revenues, and we are already profitable. What means there is still the problem of getting the solar installed, because the people are really in a crazy hurry because the gas problem, fossil problem based on Putin or based on the next dictator or wherever oil is coming. So what's going on? We focus fully on the completely German region with 120 million of customers, where we really can to reach 20% of market share, because we already reached in Austria 20% of market share. Yeah, thank you from my side.
Thank you, Walter. Give him a big applause for that steep growth. I saw there you have now 1,000 managed facilities. You want to have 100,000 in 3 years, so times 100 in 3 years. Germany is times 10. How will you manage?
Our scale is definitely because our partners, they are already here. Our partners are already installing solar. But with the process and the bottom-up strategy, we help them to grow from 3% a year or 5% a year to 15 to 30% a month. And so we can deliver the products, we can deliver the services, and still we can help them with financing. And that's one of the major problems, that the people, they cannot pay it cash, that they have to finance those products.
So you have an integrated solution to make this growth feasible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Walter. We are close to lunch break. Once again, thank you. I think you've seen Austria has ambitious goals, 2040 net zero. We have to speed up. We have to have disruptive reduction of CO2 each year. And I think you saw a lot of solutions and complete integrated solutions that are giving us the hope that we can reach this. So I hope you take away here in Austria, the GreenTech Valley, you have a lot of cooperation partners to scale your business together with the partners here. So for the lunch break, for the audience here, we have 1 hour. Then we start with the B2B sessions that are also online as well as offline. So please feel free to come up to the speakers, to all the podium guests, and get in touch. This is what the GreenTech Days stand for, new contacts to raise your business. Besides the B2B session starting at 2 o'clock, you can also have joined the breakout session on hydrogen and the advancement of the energy systems at 2 o'clock here, room 1, or online live stage 3. At 3:30, the breakout session on AI and the energy transition will start. The same setting, room 1 here, live stage 3. Thank you so much. We are looking forward to see you in the GreenTech Valley and to get into touch to tackle climate change. Thank you so much.